disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Hello, welcome everybody to IBD Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a fantastic one for you, as we do the annual boxing report cards, where we look at each boxer from the past year, that's 2023, of course, and we look at where their career is based on that last year. Now, we're going to be basing this off of performances, quality of wins, the support group that they have outside the ring, the prospect that they have for the future, and so on and so forth. All right, there's a lot of elements here to look at, so we're going to be looking at all of that. We're going to be examining that. We're going to give you the lowdown, the dossier on some of these big names in boxing, so stay tuned for that. Before we get down to the fun, fellas, you know the drill. If you want to keep this gravy train rolling for 2024, make sure to a couple of super chats via the super chat feature here. You can send us a couple of shekels. But the most important thing is you continue to like and subscribe, fellas. You can also join the BD membership program. That makes it easier too, and you get some special emojis and badges. But like I said, the most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, and you can support us that way. And hitting that like, we're gonna continue the tradition here of telling you to hit that like, all right, fellas? It takes 2 seconds, and you really help us out. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Oh, and don't forget, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure, of course. Give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Nightmurph, Protectorate General, Super Sardonic, El Pachuco, Uncle Burnt Apostrophe, IBR Stellar, Pandemic Rat Party, El Pachuco, Sergeant, #CCD, Knockout Ned, Hard Recoil, Knockout Ned, Super Sardonic, Hyperspaz, J Perez, Dark Hey Do, Never Sober's in the house as well. Don Hello, Mr. Dodos. And many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right. We're going to get to the bottom of this. First of all, do I have my YouTube single comments? Yeah, how come that's not showing up? Every once in a while. There you go. So there's the super chat. I mean, the single comments. All right. So again, fellas, we're going to be looking at the big names. Or not necessarily the big names, but the essential, crucial boxers from last year. And we're going to judge the type of year they had, and we're going to give them some report cards, okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doling out either a fail, meaning this boxer either underperformed or completely underperformed, does not have any good future prospects because of the decisions they've made outside the ring, they don't have a good support group, or they just essentially shit the bag, excuse my language, this past year. Then you get a pass. Now, with the pass, you get two distinctions. You get high pass, low pass. And then you get the honor roll, which is when boxers went above and beyond what they were supposed to do, and they really mailed home a fantastic year. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at, all right, fellas? I'm going to have to repeat these instructions to the panelists when I call them up here, so hold on a second. Which one? All right, Gonzalo, if you're listening, I'm going to call you on your old account like we talked about, and I'm going to keep adding a couple of people here. Because I see Gonzalo's with the old account. Yeah, he's got the new account activated. Oh, no, excuse me. It's the old... Excuse me, Gonzalo. My fault. I already forgot what we talked about. Hold on a second. I got to remove Gonzalo from the group. Yeah, Jimmy, I don't know if you heard, but Gonzalo, he's out, man.
Hello?
Jimmy, can you hear me? All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, right. Good to hear from you. Hey, listen, first show of the year. We're gonna really deliver here. So we're doing the boxing report cards. Like I was, excuse me, like I was telling people, we base this off performances. All right, Gonzalo's here. All right, Gonzalo, shout out to you, man. Thank you for being on. Like I was telling Jimmy here, or I was about to tell him, we're gonna be doing the usual annual report cards, where we look at fighters, some of the essential, crucial names from boxing, and we talk about whether they had a good year, whether, the performances, not just the wins, but the performances that they delivered. And we're also going to be looking at the support group that they have outside the ring. Is it good? Is it bad? And how does it all play for their future? Do they have any good prospects for 2024? We analyze all of that. We put all that together, and when we decide whether they get 2023, they had a fail, pass, or honor roll. You guys remember that. Now, just to remind you, with the pass, it can either be a high pass or a low pass. So a guy might have passed and, okay, good year. He did what he had to. Low pass is just shy of failing. And a high pass is almost on a roll, but for some reason or another, it just didn't quite get there. All right, fellas? Any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm also sharing the screen now with you guys. So make sure to tune in for that. You can also read the chat at the same time. So it's all hunky-dory. All right. We're going to start off here with the... Oh, hold on a second. Gonzalo, can you hear us? Gonzalo? Oh, don't tell me it's not working anymore. We were having trouble with his Discord the other day. Gonzalo? Ah, fuck. All right, well, I'll try. Should it, we did a little test yesterday. I don't understand now why it's not working anymore. Hold on a second. He's writing to me here. It's not working, he says. Fuck. Yeah, Gonzalo, try to use another device, man. It was working yesterday. Now all of a sudden it doesn't want to work out. Hey, worst case scenario, Jimmy, you have a StreamYard account, right?
A StreamYard account?
Yeah.
I guess, right? I mean, I'm on, is that Discord?
No, StreamYard.
Is that
StreamYard. It's a thing everybody else uses.
Sure.
Yeah. No, well, okay, because if I open up a StreamYard just for Gonzalo, it's going to be a lot of delay.
Well, hold on. Let me just check with the wife. Most likely
sure
I do. Hold on. If I have to, she can just put me on it. Hold on.
All right, now I wanted, there's going to be a lot to talk about here, and right off the year, we've got Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He got, what happened with him? Oh yeah, he got arrested for, apparently he tried to, he got his truck repossessed. So now he tried to go in a ninja mission over there, like a Navy SEAL, to try to get it. His wife was distracted, girlfriend was distracting the guy from the truck company or whatever, and then he snuck up behind the guy, strangled him. And then they got in the car and they drove away. But of course, they immediately identified him, who's the truck belonged to. So I don't know what the hell's up with this good dude. He's under arrest now. Came out a couple of days ago that Calvin Ford, Gervonta Davis's trainer, has also been arrested. Forget for what exactly. And then Gervonta Davis was going around Twitter threatening to rape just barely legal girls. So I don't know what's going on over there in the United States. But
not just rape, turn out, turn into a prostitute. Like the worst thing you can do to a girl. Like, turn her out is basically what he said.
So okay, so he's a Adonis Stevenson fan. Good to know. All right. So what did you find out? Do you have a StreamYard account?
My wife said she could take a few minutes. She'll set it up for me if that's what needs to be.
Yeah, because then if
I have to show you, she can set it up.
Because then if I have Gonzalo on StreamYard and everybody else on Discord, then there's a delay between us and Gonzalo. So he'll be jumping in, and you guys won't be able to hear him right away. So just gotta iron that out. Or actually, we'll test it out now. I'm gonna test it out now. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, Jimmy, maybe you could jump on StreamYard, and that's how we do it. All right. Give me 2 seconds here.
All right.
Yeah, but keep looking for the account. Keep looking for the account. And worst case scenario, you can just like you said, she can just set it up real quickly, man. So tell her, don't ask her. Tell her to set it up for you. All right. See, that's how you got to keep him in line. All right, settings, enter studio. Okay.
All right, so yeah, I don't have a stream out. She's going to set it up as I'm talking to you.
Fantastic. All right, Gonzalo, I'm going to send you the stream here so you can stay under. We can hear from you at least. There we go. And Jimmy, I'll tell, if there's too much commotion, we'll all just go over to StreamYard. All right. Shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution with the super chat. He says, long overdue. Hold on a second. He says, long overdue. How's everybody today? Hope you're all good. Well, we're all fantastic. Right back at you there, Michael Poe. Happy New Year, and hope you're doing fantastic as well. And get a nice little show here where we're going to be looking at the annual report cards. Again, people, this is one of those shows where we're just going to be looking at these fighters, some of the top fighters in the world, and we're going to be assessing their 2023, where they're at now, and maybe even talk a little bit about where they're going in the future, 2024, which so a lot of people are saying it might be better than 2023. Hopefully it is, man. I mean, I remember when we had, what a coincidence, 2013 was one of the last great years that I remember that was just jam-packed. And everybody was talking about, wow, imagine 2014. And then 2014 actually ended up being one of the worst. I mean, not one of the worst, but I mean, compared to 2013, you had the PBC came in, they broke away from Golden Boy Promotions, then they had Danny Garcia versus Herrera and Rod Salka, and it was just a mess. Gonzalo, are you there?
Hey, how's it going, Mr. BDA?
Doing fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastic as well. Jimmy, can you hear him?
I can hear him.
All right, fantastic. Well, we'll try to do it this way, and if it doesn't work out, well, we'll see what happens. But now I gotta share the screen with Gonzalo here, but I'm not I don't know how to use StreamYard, so no, I think I can share my screen here. All right. Gonzalo, can you see the screen I'm sharing there?
Yeah, I sure can.
All right. Fantastic. All right, let's get to it then. Let's go with, and we'll start off from the smaller categories here. And then we'll work our way up to the big divisions. All right, so let's start off with this dude, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Now, when he started off the year, he had a rough one against Christian El Chicharito Gonzalez. All right, shout out to Michael Poe right there. So Bam Rodriguez had a tough year against Chicharito Gonzalez, got his jaw fractured, and it was the second time he'd gone 12 rounds in a row. So people were started thinking, he lost a little luster. And that's how he started off his year against Chicharito Gonzalez. But then he stayed idle for almost a year, came back against Sonny Edwards, and delivered a beatdown on Edwards. At first, it was a little competitive, yeah, sure, but then it just turned into a beatdown, and he ended up getting a stoppage. So, fellas, how would we rank Jesse Rodriguez's performance? Fail, pass, honor roll?
I don't know if you want to go first, Jimmy.
Well, it's kind of hard. I wouldn't give him an honor roll because he didn't look his best earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Say if he looked like even above average earlier in the year and coming off that performance, because I don't want to just start giving everybody I like, everybody was great. But don't get me wrong, he's one of my favorite fighters. But he did look up to snuff. And if I'm not mistaken, though, the fight earlier in the year, was that at a heavier weight or was that at the same weight he fought Edwards at?
That was the same weight.
At a lighter weight.
Same weight.
The same weight? Huh, okay. Yeah, so since it was the same weight, yeah. If it was a lighter weight, I would have attributed to maybe, trying to take it off, but trying to take off the weight. So I give him a high pass. Was that the thing you said? Regular pass, low pass? Was it low and high pass and on roll?
Yeah, you can make the distinction. High pass, low pass.
Yeah, so I give him definitely a high pass, just short of on roll, because the first fight, like you said, the fight he had earlier in the year just wasn't up to snuff, up to what we had come to grow. That's kind of when you're really great, and you're a great fighter, people hold you to your own standards. So I'm only holding him to his own standards, not comparing him to anybody else.
All right. That's an interesting look right there. Gonzalo, do you agree? You concur?
Almost. I'll probably say the same thing. I'm thinking about honor roll, but not sure. How many times did he fight total? 2 or 3?
He fought 2.
Twice. Okay, I say high pass as well. Because he's active. That's one thing people want to see from fighters, that they fight often and stay sharp. Yeah, he had a tough fight, but then the last performance, which was about a month ago, that was a highly touted matchup, and it did happen. You could consider it a big fight for the smaller divisions, and that was a good performance. He got a good knockout or a good stoppage. So I'd say high pass too.
Yeah, Jimmy hit the nail on the head there when he said, okay, look, he had a fantastic performance against Sonny Edwards. A lot of people going in there thought it was going to be a 50-50 fight. And then he goes in there and he decimates him. But that first fight of the year, he looked really vulnerable. I mean, I thought he clearly won the fight, don't get me wrong. But the fact that he got his jaw fractured, had a little trouble. So, in other words, like we were saying, if you want to give a guy an honor roll, he has to go above and beyond. So I give him a high pass. I'm going to concur with Jimmy there. I thought it was a great year, but we actually gave him an honor roll last year because he moved up in weight at the last minute to replace, I forget who he replaced against Carlos Cuadras, and then he beat Cuadras, stayed at that weight, 115. Then he knocked out Sorong Visay, and then he beats Israel Gonzalez, who's another tough contender. So that was an honor roll right there. Now this time, he only fought twice. He did have that hard fight early on. So I agree. We're going to give him a high pass. It's not, the highest honor, but hey, man, it's good. He's on the right track. He's with Robert Garcia. He seems to know what he's doing over there. He's only getting better at 23, 24. So we decide at this point we are going to be giving him a pass. There we go. All right, we've got a couple of super chats here. We've got shout out to Michael Poe, who says prediction: LRB admitting Haney is his son. Oh, come on, because of the nostrils, huh? That's the giveaway right there. Shout out to Michael Poe for his contributions. Shout out to Never Sobers for his contribution with super chat. He says more money, more problems. Abdul Wahid. I mean, this guy, yeah, the Gervonta Tank Davis, aka Abdul Wahid, is. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully, he stays clean in 2024, and we can finally see him in there against some of the best lightweights. But I suspect that even if he does stay clean, he's not going to be fighting some of the best lightweights. So, whatever. We'll see what happens. We're going to get to him eventually. Hey, Jimmy, let me know if you set up the StreamYard there, just in case. Maybe it'll be easier if we all just go over there. But it seems to be good so far. All right. So that's Jesse Bam Rodriguez right there with the pass. Fellas, don't forget to hit the like. It really helps us out. All right, let's go to another fighter in the lower weight divisions. Now, this dude technically is moving up after having had a fantastic year at 115, and that is Junto Nakatani. Now, Nakatani, let me just refresh my memory because I forget when he fought El Chihuas. That was last year, right? Or was that earlier this year? He campaigns at flyweight, superfly, now campaigning at bantamweight. Now, okay, so when he fought Chihuas, that was in 2022. Okay, so this year he fought Andrew Maloney, knocked him out with it was really a candidate for knockout of the year. I believe he was on the Lomachenko-Haney undercard. Knocked him out with a vicious uppercut. Then he returned against a tough RG Cortez this past September. Dropped Cortez a bunch of times, hurt him, but Cortez stayed right in there. Gave him hit him with some good flush shots, but at the end of the day, Nakatani ends up pulling away 2023 with 2 solid wins, 1 stoppage, 1 unanimous decision. Fellas, how would you rank Nakatani? I'm going to go ahead real quick because we got to move through this list. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. But I'm going to give him a pass because he didn't a high pass because he didn't really, he barely lost any rounds, but he didn't fight the best. So I got to give him a high pass, but not a high honor roll. Fellas?
Words matter. High pass.
There you go. Gonzo?
Can't disagree.
Oh, we got Chief jumping in. What'd you say, Chief?
Thank you for inviting me, sir.
Yeah, sometimes I forget to invite you, man. I never know if you're going to be around or not. Go ahead, man. What did you say?
I understand that, and I appreciate your consideration just the same, and I give him a high pass also.
High pass. All right. Guns?
I'd say the same thing too. High pass.
All right. Fantastic. How come the alert is... Okay, yeah. All right. So people are saying Junto Nakatani, by the way, he's going to be fighting the... what's his name again? Santiago, right? The guy that beat Donaire this past September, I believe. Or July, was it? Anyway, I forget. But
yeah, so that's right. He's a fighter from Tijuana. He's pretty good.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Junto Nakatani, he wants to become one of those guys that's just jumping around division to division. He's 5 feet 7 inches tall, which is very tall for those guys at that weight. But 118, it gets a little less taller. I mean, Donaire, I think, is 5'6" or something. So we'll see what happens with him. But for the moment, we give him a pass. Very exciting fighter to watch. Junto Nakatani. All right. So that does it there for Junto. Good old Junto Nakatani. All right. Now, the next fighter here is... Who is this dude? Hold on a second. Because I got to look at the names sometimes here for the photographs. All right. El Gallito Juan Francisco Estrada, who had 0 fights this year after having finally decisively beaten Chocolatito Gonzalez in late 2022, stays out for the year. Now, apparently, he says that, it's because I had an injury after the Chocolatito fight, and then I had a daughter or something like that. He had a newborn, so he had to stay off. But I mean, guys, 0 fights the year, man. What's going on here?
Yeah, fail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same thing I said.
Jimmy's right. Go ahead, Gonzo.
With the dude. Yeah, same thing I've said in the past with other fighters. I mean, if you don't fight, and I think everybody's agreed in the past too, regardless if you're that good or like highly touted, I mean, you didn't fight not even like a tune-up, that's a fail. Now, he's probably going to fight, what's the guy's name, man, that just fought? The guy we were talking about.
Bam
Rodriguez. He's probably going to fight him early next year, even without a tune-up, and I'm hoping to see that fight. That's a good style matchup, and I'm actually rooting for the Gallito, but that doesn't change anything. He didn't fight, so yeah, I give him a fail too.
Yeah, it's going to be rough taking on a young 23 Bam Rodriguez, who's coming off 2-year fights at least in the past year. This guy's 0. He's had some, Gallito has had some tough fights. I think that's going to be ugly. I mean, if anything, if last year was the ultimate proof that activity matters, and this dude, he might give Bam Rodriguez a good fight, but more than a year off, nah, and then on top of that, he didn't fight at all this year, so that's a fail right there, man.
Shame on you!
All right.
He's a very tough Mexican fighter with a good chin and a solid skill set. But we're not grading abilities. We're grading what he did in a performance. And he didn't perform this year. So you can't help but fail him.
That's right. And, hey, listen, it's whether we like a guy or dislike him, and I like Gallito. I think he's always stepped up for the most part. He's fantastic, well-conditioned, entertaining style, with skill. But listen, man, you didn't fight at all this year. So it's a fail. Now, forgot to add this dude on the list, but here he is. Nonetheless, Kiro Teraji, fighting at one division below, what's it called? The flyweight. What's it called again? Not Superfly. Fuck, I can't believe I'm spacing out here. Fellas, help me out.
I tend to use the junior divisions instead of the super
strawweight.
titles.
You're talking about strawweight?
Strawweight.
He's a junior flyweight.
Strawweight, right?
Absolutely. See, that's
if he's fighting at 108, that'll be junior flyweight. If he's fighting at 105, that's strawweight. If he's 112, that's flyweight.
Well, he's at light flyweight, however you want to call it. Now, Kiro Teraji had a fantastic year in 2022 when he beat the undefeated Hiroto Kyoguchi, and that fight surprised me, the way he ended it. People keep comparing Inoue to Pacquiao, or they try to, anyway, which is, I know there's some similarities, but for the most part, they're completely different fighters. Teraji actually does remind me more of Pacquiao, the way he bounces back and forth, combinations, pop, 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 just touching guys. And this year, he was supposed to get La Bomba Rodriguez, but La Bomba, by the way, Bomba ended up pulling out of 2 fights. This guy's the pull-out king. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any children. He's probably barren. But anyway, the point is that Teraji had 2 good wins. You read
my mind on that joke.
There you go. So Teraji had 2 good wins by TKO, and he did beat the former, one of the top guys, who's on the way out a little bit, but nonetheless a top contender in Heike Butler. And in the middle rounds, Heike Butler really tried to step it up, but Teraji just decimated him and ended up stopping him in the 9th round. So, fellas, where do we... I'm going to, real quick, because we got to move through this fast. I'm going to say pass.
I don't know. I'm kind of... There was a meme where he was eating an ice cream in the shape of a dick, and he was enjoying it, so he gets a fail from me.
Hey,
did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did see it, man. Yes, people keep that's why people are calling him in the Discord. People call him Kenshiro Fakshiro Teraji. That's the nickname he's got in the Discord. So I mean, I don't know what they're doing over there in Japan, but
I didn't see the picture, so I'm just gonna go a fail. I mean, just a regular pass, rather. Sorry, just a regular pass.
That's how we're gonna start off the year, huh?
Going that way.
Chief, do you concur?
Easy pass. I don't know if he deserves anything higher. I'd have to review his record. I know who he is, but I haven't. Dora's one that introduced me to the guy, and I know he's got a pretty solid career, but I don't know if he did anything spectacular this year off the top of my head. So I'm gonna have to go with a pass.
Okay, but what did you think about the whole eating of pastry?
I know nothing about it. I never saw the meme. Don't know anything about it.
All right. Well,
remember, we're off of accomplishments and activity, not off of sexual preferences or anything else like that. So,
well, he was eating a pastry. Yeah, guys, he was eating a pastry. He wasn't an actual fucking dick. But anyway, listen. All kidding aside, let's get serious for a moment here. It's a new year. I'm gonna give him pass. The guy did what he had to, and again, it's not his fault that Bomba ended up pulling out of 2 fights. But again, he didn't fight Bomba, so. We can only go by what he did. Again, this dude, he's 31. He's at the peak of his physical powers. Dick eating aside, he's a very good fighter. I can't wait to see what he does in the coming year. And so we give him a pass right there, man.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on here to another fighter. I'm glad people reminded me of Teraji, by the way. I did this list real quickly, and I forgot some names, apparently. Hopefully you guys remind us if we do forget anybody. All right, so then we move on to the next fighter. Now we're up at 122. Can't focus on everybody. Again, it's got to be some of the more important names. And we go to the monster, Naoya Inoue. Started off the year by taking out Stephen Fulton. He moved up 1 division, no tune-up, took on the best guy there, the undefeated Stephen Fulton. A lot of people had it as a close fight going in. Naoya Inoue said, you know what, I don't want to make it close. And just outboxed the guy and then ended up stopping him. And then he ended up going up against an equally tough Marlon Tapales. That fight ended up being tougher than the Fulton fight. He ate more shots in that one. Inoue had to level up, power up, and ended up taking Tapales out late in the fight as well. Fellas, what do we say about old Naoya Inoue?
Honor roll. The highest of honor rolls.
Oh.
Yep. I mean,
he's just
Jimmy and I are on the
standard
same page. Go ahead, Gonzo.
I'm just saying, la creme de la creme. Rises to the top.
That's right. That's right.
Numero uno.
Jimmy and I have been singing his praise for a couple years now, and this year's no different of an example. Sure. Okay. Anyway, I've been calling him number 1 for quite some time.
All right.
Everything he does is on point. He's definitely generational talent, but it's not just generational talent. Look what he wanted to do this year. He didn't just want to take like a tune-up here and then have one tough fight and then a gimme. He went after. He unified an entire division in 1 year. Given he only had to do it in 2 fights, but he unified an entire division in his 4th weight class in 1 year. Name me another time recently another fighter's done that. And then if that's the case, then we might reconsider. Right now, not just high pass, honor roll.
Honor roll, Gonzalo. What did you say? You said honor roll too, right?
Yeah, it's got to be honor roll. He's what pound for pound fight. He's the number one pound for pound fighter in the world right now. People, it's arguable to some people, but to others, it's very clear. I don't know if the official rankings from the ring and all these the guys that do the pound for pound list are out, but I think some people got him on there too. I mean, the quote unquote experts, and they are, of course, they are.
Yeah, I think in that Pro Box, that show there with Tim Bradley and Algieri and all Malignaggi. I think Bradley's. I didn't watch it, but I think Bradley said, "No way, Crawford's still number one." I'm thinking, how can you say no way? Like, it's that decided. Whoever you pick, it's still a close call. But anyway, listen, sticking to the Inoue thing. By the way, Chief, I didn't mean to be pugnacious, but I genuinely don't remember if you had Inoue number one for a while now. But listen.
Oh yeah,
this dude.
For the record, I said going into the Spence Crawford fight, the winner of Fulton Inoue, if it was Inoue, was going to stay number one regardless of the outcome.
There you go.
So if I'm been a huge fan of his from the beginning, but I'm not just calling as a fanboy. He's generational talent and deserves the recognition based off of what he did. Like I said, unified a division in 1 year. And that's probably going to be the highest praise anyone's going to get off of accomplishments that we go over tonight.
Right.
And
that's right.
Mr. BDA, can I just add too? I agree. It's weird for me. Listen, it's a kind of a dichotomy here. I got Fighter of the Year. I have Crawford because of the significance, right? Which is nuance, right? It's just not all about actual quantifiable metrics. Just kind of a feeling thing too. But the impact on the sport, right, across the board. It was the biggest fight. Doesn't mean it was the most, the top selling, but it had the biggest impact in the domination, regardless that Spence, in my opinion, is overrated, plus an alcoholic or a heavy drinker enough. I mean, you drink that much as a professional athlete. Watch how much of a drinker he is when he stops working as a boxer. But for that, I have Crawford as my Fighter of the Year, but pound for pound, number one, I have anyway, because of the quantifiable metrics. They're objective. There's no feelings involved. You go across the board. And he's achieved more. In fact, I have something I'm going to send you. You can post later. But yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Hey, shout out to Grim Reaper who says Inoue, he's moving different. That's the nomenclature now people use nowadays. Yeah, he's got that dog. He's just moving. He's a different breed. But I'll tell you this about Inoue. I forgot to say this in the last show where we talked about the aftermath of the Taples fight. I was skeptical of Inoue going into the tournament, the WSBSS, whatever it was called, tournament, the bantamweight one, because I was thinking, okay, he's knocking everybody out. Like, he knocked out the Panamanian dude, I'm forgetting the names today. He knocked him out in one round on the opening stage of that tournament. Then Emanuel Rodriguez, who was perhaps his toughest test of the tournament, or at least on paper, undefeated, takes him out in under 2 rounds. So you're thinking, okay, so how much can you how can you really gauge a guy who's beating these guys in under 2 rounds? Like, we don't really know, other than the Carmona fight, we didn't really know how he would do if he went 12 rounds. And then he goes in there against Donaire. And I mean, he'd gone 12 rounds against Taguchi too, I think. But then he goes in there against Donaire, and that was the fight that sold me. That was the fight where I went, okay, everything I wanted to know about him, we knew. Continued fighting with a fractured orbital. He showed he could box. He showed his footwork. He showed he could go 12 rounds, 12 tough rounds. So, yeah, man, I've been sold since then, but it took me a while. Took me a while to be sold. That's just the way it is. I mean, I got high standards. But anyway, you guys said it, on a roll. So that's what we're going to give him here. We got to play the music. Hold on a second. There you go, on a roll. 2 years in a row, by the way, for Naoya Inoue. We gave him on a roll 2 last year, I think. Yeah, I think we did give him on a roll because he beat Donaire in under 2 rounds and then beat Paul Butler and became the undisputed. Yeah, even though he was already undisputed in my eyes, but was that, Chief?
Finished. Yeah, I was trying to help you out, which I know you don't need help on your own, but he finished unifying the division and then solidified his win over a Hall of Famer from the first fight, knocked him out in a handful of rounds in the rematch.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he was already undisputed, and that's what I want to keep reiterating this year. That when people go, well, he needs to fight, he didn't really need to fight Paul Butler. To me, he was already there was no dispute that he was the best bantamweight. But in today's nomenclature, yeah, you do get the standards are that to be undisputed, you need 4 belts. Maybe in 10 years, you're going to need 5 belts. It's going to be the IBO or the IBA, but yeah, whatever. All right, let's continue moving here. By the way, we've hey, come on, 34 likes. Come on, let's get it up to 80, at least 80. Just keep hitting those likes, all right, fellas? Keep hitting that like, and will really help us out, all right, fellas?
One more thing, BD.
Yes.
And that the Tapales win was a worthy win. Because, okay, maybe he was not as known or as popular probably as the Uzbeki dude, whose name is MJ or Agmadaliev is his last name, I believe.
Right.
He was more probably touted, but that dude lost against Tapales. So at the end of the day, Tapales had 2 belts, and he was in the fight for undisputed. So that win is a major win, and it was a good fight too.
Yeah, people don't want to admit it because they never really saw the guy fight before. But yeah, Tapales was, I mean, the way he beat MJ, there was no dispute. He did get rough there in the later rounds, but he was a legitimate number 2 guy in the division.
And the reason why what happened with the jab, he had to make an adjustments. When he went into the Philly shell style, because even though he's a little bit shorter, and that's always going to be a problem for Inoue. His style is best suited for somebody his height or actually a little taller, because he drives his jab is driven from the floor with those big calves. So it's in one motion. He does that step jab, so he's driving upwards. When you change the angle of your jab even slightly downwards, it's going to be slower and have less on it. So you take that, then you add the shell, which automatically makes the fighter harder to reach because he's more leaning back. So he had to make adjustments to that. That's where there was the difference. If he stayed in the peekaboo and a little taller, those guys a little taller than him, that's why Brian Figueroa, I think he destroys him. I think he absolutely destroys him. He's too slow. I know a lot of people call for him. But I just want to say, because a lot of people are saying, I just want to touch on this one thing with Crawford, and I'm as big a Crawford fan as anybody. I think he's generational talent. I think he's great. But I want to say this. Number of fights before becoming a world champion. Crawford, 21. Inoue, 5. Became world champion in his 6th fight. Okay? Number of divisions they've won world championships in. Inoue, 4. Crawford, 3. They both unified 2 divisions, right? It took 7 years in between for Crawford. It took 12 and a half months for Inoue. And then you go to number of title fights. Inoue 21 with a 90% knockout ratio. Crawford 18 with an 83% knockout ratio. Number of fights versus current or world champions. Inoue 13, Crawford 10. Inoue with an 85% knockout. Crawford with a 75. And then this is huge too. How do those wins age? 4 of Inoue's opponents that he had obliterated have gone on to become world champions again, showing that they weren't flash in the pans. 0 people Crawford has beaten has gone on to become world champion again. So those are objective facts.
All right. I don't want to open up that can of worms. I don't want to open up that can of worms because now you got Chief hot and bothered here.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say, so that's why a lot of people, of course, on Twitter were coming at me when I said that the last show. But so it was broke it down. Somebody made it for me and they sent it to me and I sent it to you if you wanted to post it later. But again, I hear a lot of people when they describe this say, well, I feel. I'm like, I don't care what you feel. It comes down to these are, quantifiable metrics you can go by. And Inoue beats him in every one of them, except for one. They both unified 2 divisions, except Inoue did it in 12 months. It took Bud 7 years.
Oh, well, there you go, man. I mean, that's a discussion that a lot of people are still having on Twitter. What was I going to say about that, man? Jimmy, you turned into the mad dog right there, man, with the statistics. I mean, when the Orioles beat when the Orioles beat the Yankees in the Super Series, what happened? In the World Series, what happened? It's like, oh, you're giving us statistics here off the bat, man. Now, Jimmy's a stats guy, by the way.
And bang.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't get him started on the crime stats.
I like baseball, too, and its stats are that. But, and talking about that, the World Super Series, you throw in that. And then you also throw in the fact that Inoue has gone up a total of 14 pounds where Bud is only going up 12. And Inoue's a smaller guy, so those 14 pounds even mean more on a someone that size than Bud's size. So every quantifiable metric, Inoue has achieved more.
All
Yeah.
right.
And I'd say at a higher competition. So
Agreed. For the record, that stat's slightly off because Ricky Burns won a title again, and Miguel, I forget his name, at lightweight didn't have a title before, but went on to win a title after he lost to Bud. So Inoue still is superior to him in all the stats. There's no argument there. Just try to set the record straight of what Bud has achieved.
Well, so that did happen. Okay, well, those were sent to me. Like somebody made that for me. so I repeated it. But,
I know that wasn't you. I know that wasn't you.
No, but now I'm going to kind of drill him. But
Ray Beltran.
But you said Burchelt?
Title after he lost to Bud.
Oh, Bertrand. That's right. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so 2 of his where Inoue did 4. Okay.
But guys, like we gotta. Sorry to interrupt, man, but we gotta move on here because I don't want to get into the whole Crawford thing. That's all right. But yeah, we gotta move on here. Otherwise, because last year I think we went on for 4 hours or something with this list. So we're moving on here to this quickly. All right, moving up to featherweight.
I apologize.
No, don't apologize. Luis Alberto Lopez, 126, ended up last year. He ended it by beating Josh Warrington. This year he started by knocking out Michael Conlon and made it look easy. Really a fantastic knockout with an uppercut. A contender for knockout of the year, of course. Then he went up against the always tough Joed Gonzalez, and he won. But like Robesi Ramirez, who's at that same weight division, he's sort of hot and cold. I don't like how he'll flurry and then he'll spend a lot of time just squatting, shaking his ass, and not doing much other than making funny faces. So, guys, what do we make about El Venado Lopez?
I mean, I would give him a high pass in my opinion, considering where he's came from. Late starter, and has been on a warpath, knocking all these contenders out. Now he's a champion. Now he's already racked up a few title defenses, and he's not an easy out for anybody. Now, Joed Gonzalez is a tough opponent for all these guys, even Navarrete, right? Where he's probably got a solid chin and he's never been knocked out. And he's always in exciting fights. I'm talking about Joed Gonzalez minus the Shakur Stevenson fight, but we know the reason for that. Now, have we seen some of his limitations? Of course. All the things that you were mentioning, BDA, and coming to find out he's got a broken right hand, so he can't necessarily punch with that one. That's why he's utilizing the left more than the right. How does his future look? Well, there's other tough fighters that I would probably slightly favor. Other tough champions that I would slightly favor those guys to beat him, but it's not a guarantee. So I would say a high pass because he's a lot better now than where he was at last year. And I think last year his name came up as well. And that was a pass too.
Yeah, but Gonzalo, we're factoring in potential, but it's also about the performances. And you're telling me you liked how he looked against Joey Gonzalez?
Well, considering Joed Gonzalez is a tough fighter, I would still say that Venado Lopez won clearly, and I get that part, BDA. I agree with what you're saying, but the Michael Conlon knockout, yeah, that was a scintillating performance, as you like to mention. You like to say, rather.
Yeah, that's right. I do like the word scintillating.
So, what's the one below high pass? Regular pass?
Yeah, regular pass.
Yeah, regular pass.
All right.
And that's what I was going to give him.
All right, nice and concise. Regular.
Yeah.
Unleaded. All right. All right, so there you go. Luis Alberto Lopez.
I'm a little biased to Venado Lopez.
That's all right. Hey, we all got the preferences.
Okay.
Yeah, we all got the preferences. So he gets a pass. Interesting to see. I mean, the Ramirez fight fell apart because, well, we're going to get to that. But you never know what could happen. Maybe a rematch for the next guys that we're going to be talking about could set up a good big fight for Venado Lopez right there. So that's on him. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to hit that like. All right, fellas, it really helps us out. All right, So then we move on from this guy and we stay. Well, this dude, from what I understand, is moving up, but he campaigned at the featherweight division the last year. We talk about Lee Wood. Now, Wood, quite a year. It was a roller coaster of a year. He ended up getting his ass knocked out by Mauricio Lara in early 2023. He returns against Lara. Of course, there were some weigh-in antics, some hijinks of the highest order. He ended up beating Lara in a boring fight, ends up winning, and then he takes on Josh Warrington. Warrington beating his ass. Looks like he's going to stop Wood, and then Wood, out of nowhere, comes out with one of his big punches and knocks out Warrington. Of course, the stoppage was a little contentious because some people felt it was an early stoppage. Nevertheless, Wood comes out of the year with a 2-1 record, one good knockout, a stoppage. He did avenge his loss against Lara. Fellas, what do we make about Lee Wood?
Low pass. Well, low pass. Low pass, yeah.
Are you factoring in because of the loss?
And because I thought his performance, like you said, was boring, and he did lose the first one, and he was losing to Warrington. It just caught him with a shot. So, yeah, I give him a barely passing. Great.
Interesting.
And he ducked Mayweather's protege. So
I'm going to give him a regular pass because I'm tempted to give him a low pass because he's not the best fighter. He's not the best champion in that division. And we know how Warrington fights and all his shenanigans. He's a dirty fighter, but still, okay, he fought Mauricio Lara the first time. And there was some shenanigans with that fight too, but it's probably not his fault. So, Lara got stripped. That was a rematch. But, yeah, in the first fight, he got knocked out. Fought him the second time. That was a boring fight. He avenged the loss. You could call it that. Then he fought Warrington. So, and what I'm trying to say is, altogether, he fought a total of 3 times. So, a lot of times we want to see fighters fighting often because they fight very infrequently. So, this guy, he demonstrated that he's got some heart. He's got some heart. And he's got some balls because he took the immediate rematch against the fighter that knocked him out cold. Then he beat Warrington, who, like I said, there's a lot of things to be said about that dude. But fighting for a total of 3 times is it's impressive. So I'm just gonna give him a regular pass by virtue of that.
When we did the category rankings late last year, and we were talking about who has the best footwork in boxing, stamina, blah blah blah. When it came to heart, Lee Wood came up as one of the top nominees. Undeniable. Heart, balls, cojones, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to the performances, yeah, man. I mean, he eventually lost, but it was a shaky one, and then he was getting his ass beat by Warrington. So apparently now he's moving up to fight Cordina. I think that was a rumor. He's going to move up to 130 to fight Cordina. That's a bad style matchup for Lee Wood because he's wide open against a quicker guy who can crack. I don't know, but we'll see, man. Hey, if he beats Cordina, he's on his way to maybe earning himself an honor roll for this year. So, but for the moment,
wasn't that fight Wood? That was against Colin, though, right? That fight that he came back. That
was 2022. Yeah, that was 2022.
Yeah, and he revenge. Yeah, but Conlon, I never really rated him. He can't break wet tissue paper with his punches. I don't know. Yeah, that's why he just got. I mean, that win hasn't even aged well because Conlon just got punched out of boxing. I think everybody's around him is telling him he needs to retire. That's how he just got knocked out again.
Yeah. But anyway, listen, Wood, man. All right, pass. That's what we agreed on. So, well, some people said low pass. So there you go with Lee Wood. Shout out to him. Had a good year. Not the best year, but hey, as long as you keep winning, you can't go wrong most of the time.
Can we go, like you said, it was either high pass or regular pass, right? I don't believe there was a low pass. I think I added that in. So you just said...
No, there is a low pass. There is a
What's
low
that?
Pass. You said low pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a
All
low
right.
pass. Yeah. Jimmy, stop trying to confuse me, man. What are you doing here?
Sorry, man.
No, there's no sorries. There's no sorries at this point. Now, all right. Hey, speaking the aforementioned Joe Cordina at 130. Now, Cordina is an interesting case because he started off the year. He's a Welshman, and he drew an okay crowd over there when he fought Rakimov, who's a dangerous guy, Rakimov. Pressure fighter, compact fighter, southpaw. He's a volume puncher, but he can crack a little bit. Cordina dropped him, but then Rakimov came back, gave him a tough outing. But Cordina ended up walking away with, I think, a split decision. And then he fought Vasquez. Edwin Vasquez, was that his name? Anyway, and that was a close fight. Some people feel Vasquez won. I mean, he certainly felt he won. He was flipping off. He was so angry that he flipped off Cordina's poster as he was walking away from the ring. And he also had some choice words for Eddie Hearn. But nonetheless, Joe Cordina ended up walking away with a 2-0 record this year. He's 31, I think. How old is this fella? I think he's in his peak of his powers physically. He's 32. All right, so now entering a little bit past his peak. He just turned 32 this past December. So, fellas, what do we make of Joe Cordina?
I mean, he's a champion, but he somewhat got exposed against. I don't know if the dude from Texas, the Mexican American guy. He's a contender, right? I mean, he's not a prospect. Yeah. He's been around for years, and apparently he gives fighters some work in sparring at the gyms. He displayed good head movement. This is the opponent, the Vasquez kid, the guy, and he made Cordina look ordinary. And the power for Cordina in that fight wasn't there. So I just give him a low pass for Cordina, because in my opinion, we got a clear picture of what he's about, and I think he is probably the lowest guy on the totem pole of champions, and he's food for the other guys. And I'm talking about Cordina, for the other champions.
Interesting.
What do you think of Cordina versus El Vaquero Navarrete?
Oof. Well.
Vaquero Navarrete smashes him.
I don't know about smashing, because, I mean, you could be right, because again, I think Cordina has shown his limitations this year. That being said, Cordina is taller than Navarrete, and if he can take Navarrete's punch, we saw what's his name, Conceição, very strong in there, stout fighter, was able to take some. Well, I mean, take is relative, because he did end up getting dropped twice, really badly against Navarrete. But Cordina is taller. He's a good counter puncher. He's got quick punches. It reminds me a little bit of like Liam Wilson, who gave Navarrete hell. So I don't know, man. I think it would. Maybe you're right. Maybe Navarrete ends up trouncing him near the end. But I'm unconvinced, man. I think it's still a dangerous fight for anybody because of his explosiveness. Jimmy, what do you think, man? People,
I would just go regular pass, I guess, or low pass. It's just, here's what it is. He's not an elite fighter, but I think Navarrete, he's food for Navarrete, but.
Well, we shall see. I'm going to go ahead and give him a pass too. I mean, again, he fought some tough opposition this year, but he ended up winning. Of course, it wasn't the ultimate or most convincing of fights. He didn't dominate. It was very Josh Taylorish, if you think about it. But he ended up winning, which is the important thing. So we're going to give him a pass. All right, that's Joe Cordina right there. Fellas, don't forget to hit that like. All right, it really helps us out. All right, let's go to another fighter here. Who was next? Well, I think we're staying at 130 here, and we go on to Gringo Oshaki Foster. Now he had two fights, right? Yeah, 2 fights. He had a fight against Ray Vargas, who was coming up from 126, trying to become a 3-division world champ, I think. And Oshaki Foster beat him. But it was a very Shakur Stevenson-ish type performance where neither guy did that much, one punch at a time. I mean, I don't know. If it would have been somewhere else with different judges, could they have taken it away from Oshaki Foster? Possibly. Then he goes in there against another Mexican in Mexico. People really want to give him credit for having fought in Mexico, even though Mexicans do it all the time when they fight in the U.S. But nevertheless, it was a Fight of the Year contender. Oshaki Foster ended up finally, when the referee told him you can't clinch, and he finally had to actually plant his feet and put some pop on those shots. He ended up taking Hernandez out. Late in the fight, he was behind on points, so he saved his ass. So it was a fantastic fight, very entertaining. So he has 2 wins exiting 2023, and now he sets himself, and now he's with Golden Boy, right? Or with Top Rank? No, with Top Rank, right? He just signed with Top Rank. So interesting prospects right there. See what they do with him. Fellas, what did we make of O'Shaquie Foster?
I mean, he's a good fighter. He's real good. He just needs to probably be a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, he weathered the storm against Rocky Hernandez, and he's getting a little bit of a reputation as being somewhat of an executioner. He beat Mickey Roman. He beat that one tall dude from Otumba, Mexico. You just mentioned his name, Ray Vargas. Yeah, that's right. And just recently, Rocky Hernandez. So he's got skills, obviously, but he's a very cautious fighter who tries to use. No knock on being intelligent, but I mean, you also got to be exciting. And if it weren't for Rocky Hernandez gassing out, because he's a guy that had never been 12 rounds, is more of a puncher. That he basically fought the wrong fight. If he would have been a little bit more disciplined in the sense that maybe he wouldn't have gone all out in the 12th round, Rocky Hernandez could have coasted to a decision too. So, I mean, yeah, he fucked up. Rocky Hernandez fucked up, and he basically put the win in O'Shaquie's hands for him to take. But, yeah, he still won. No credit away from O'Shaquie. The game plan ultimately worked. He got the win. But, that I mean, yeah, like I said, man, that was Rocky's fight. But no, you can't take it away from O'Shaquie. I'm just saying that moving forward, you got to be more aggressive. And yeah, that fight was had a round of the year candidate. So I'm just gonna give him a regular pass.
I mean, I always respect when a fighter. What was that, Jimmy? I
regular pass.
Regular. Okay, well, I want to hear why, but real quick, I always respect Gonzalo when a guy finished the fight late. I mean, did Rocky Hernandez gas because he was inexperienced? Maybe, but you got to give Foster credit too for. He did some things there. Like I said, he stopped running around and actually started planting his feet to gain some power. Because again, people nowadays, calling a fighter flat-footed is a pejorative term for some people. But if you want to generate power, you got to plant those feet. And he actually did plant his feet. And he almost got his ass taken out by Rocky Hernandez late in the fight when they were exchanging. But he prevailed 2-0 this year. So I got to give him credit for ending the year strongly. But I will say... Yeah. The Vargas fight was very close too, very uneventful. And then the Hernandez fight, considering that Hernandez is not a top guy, and I thought he was outworking Foster. And even when Hernandez went on the back foot, he was outboxing him. I don't know why some people said, he was going to get robbed in Mexico. To me, the scorecards were right on the money, but so I'm going to give him a pass. Jimmy?
I think, well, you just described it right down the middle why I'm giving him just a pass. Level of competition, and his fights bore me to sleep.
And by the way, sorry, excuse me. we shouldn't say just a pass, because a pass is okay. But the honor roll is I mean, that's a exceptional thing. So a pass is good.
I know. I'm adding just as a descriptor because we have low pass, regular pass. All right, instead of saying just a pass, I should have said regular pass.
There you go.
Which is not the lowest. But yeah, I'm giving him a pass. I'm not giving him a high pass or honor roll because he plays it safe. His fights tend to be boring, and again, his level of competition hasn't been top notch. You get honor roll when you're starting to beat the best. That's an honor roll, or even a high pass. You got to do something, I believe, extraordinary.
Right,
he's got the size and the skill to be more assertive in there. Kind of like Richardson Hitchinson. He could have taken out Cepeda. He probably could have taken out Rocky Juarez earlier. And if Rocky Juarez would have done what Meldrick Taylor did against Julio Cesar Chavez, if Rocky Juarez would have ran, he would have won for the last round. He would have won that fight. This is Rocky Juarez. All right. And the same as O'Shaquie. With O'Shaquie, if he would have been more aggressive earlier, he could have probably taken the steam out of Rocky Juarez's attacks earlier rather than later. And it wouldn't have left it up for grabs until the final round It just went his way this time. But in the future, we don't know. Against tougher adversaries.
It's a good point.
Well, we're grading this year, and he had 2 fights, 2 wins. Ray Vargas, 2 division champion, 36-0. You know, not the best. He probably had a bigger following than he was as far as talent, but was no slouch. And he may have been losing to Rocky Hernandez, but he pulled out the win, and he had to dig deep to do it. So I'm not going to say a high pass by any means, but it's a solid pass.
That's right. That's right. And now, and also we're considering the support group that a fighter has outside the ring, in terms of negotiation and all that. And he is with Top Rank, so I mean, maybe that could be a bad thing, but I don't think so. I mean, it's one of the best promotional entities out there, so he just recently signed with them, so the future looks bright, and I think that earns him a pass. Yeah, well done year for Shaki Foster. By the way, that's a very Irish name right there for a black guy. I mean, that's a little disconcerting right there. It throws me off for a loop. But anyway,
Black Irish.
I mean, the O, Shaki there, O with an apostrophe. All right. Hey, fellas, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. It really helps us out. All right. Well, we stay at 1:30 here, and we go to he is the top guy in the division, and we're talking about the cowboy, El Vaquero, Emanuel Navarrete, who had so to outline the year, 3 fights this year. He ended up taking on Liam Wilson, tougher fight than expected, but he ended up taking Liam Wilson out. Then he took on Oscar Valdez and had beat him up worse than anyone had ever beaten Valdez. And then not that long after, he ends up fighting Robson Conceição, and he gets a contentious draw. I felt he could have done more in that 12th round, really drove home the win, but he didn't, which makes me suspicious that maybe he's back to his old ways of not training improperly and maybe eating too many Twinkies and tortillas and tortas. But I don't know, fellas, he went 3-0. Uneven performances here and there, some great performances here and there. Fellas, what do we make of Emanuel Navarrete?
On a roll. And the reason that 3 fights in 1 year, that in itself.
Come on.
I'm going to give a professional fighters fighting 3. No, that and because he beat, like you said, Oscar Valdez. Listen, he's a rated fighter. He's a top fighter. And he demolished him worse than anybody. And he went up in weight, so I'm giving him an honor roll, and I'm doing that because he gets ignored by the rest of the boxing world, and we'll talk about that later on these pound-for-pound lists. But yeah, I'm going to give him an honor roll, and anybody doesn't like it, they can...
But because he fought 3, I mean, okay, I understand that the whole the Valdez win, but just because he fought 3 times a year, I mean, that's what fighters are supposed to do. We don't want that to become the norm, like, oh, well, now that's a high benchmark, fighting 3 times more than twice a year.
I'm kind of agree with you, but also Jamie BDA, because if you have 1 fight and you look good, well, how do you know you're not going to look ordinary or maybe lose 1 if you fight 2 or 3 times? So you're always going to look better based off 1 fight if you do win. It's kind of like when fighters have great careers, but then they retire early. Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. But if they keep fighting like Roy Jones and you start losing, you lose something towards the very end, and now that gets qualified into your overall body of work. But breaking it down from a yearly basis, yeah, there's more, plenty of room to play with as far as judging a fighter when he fights 3 times as opposed to 1. But then again, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
what's your award?
Yeah, what is your award?
For him, I give him a high pass because that was a great fight against Valdez. He didn't knock him out, but it was a dominant performance. I don't think he knocked him out. No, he didn't. And it was an exciting fight. Not the one that they wanted to paint the picture of being like Eric Morales versus Herrera, that they wanted to sell us and shove down our throats so bad. It wasn't that. You know, how these networks are going on these fucking tirades is like, want to sell us these fairy tale stories. But the other fight that he fought, who did he fight the second fight? I forget.
He fought Valdez and then afterwards Conceição. I mean, before that, Liam Wilson.
Also, it was just 2 times he fought?
3 times. He fought Liam Wilson, Valdez, and then Conceição.
Okay, so Liam Wilson, he got the stoppage. Yeah, I just talked about Valdez and Consensao. I'm just gonna say Consensao. It wasn't so much what Navarrete did bad. Yeah, there's some defensive liabilities. Obviously, he's a whirlwind, but I'm just gonna say it's what Consensao did good that made it into a tough fight. Some people had Navarrete winning, and some others had Consensao is possibly winning too. The fight ultimately got scored as a draw. I think that was fair. In my personal opinion, I think Navarrete did enough if you include the 2 knockdowns. And now he had him badly hurt in one of the other rounds. I think it was like the 10th or 11th. So I'm just going to give Navarrete a high pass.
I gotta tell you, okay, so Jimmy, you're changing it to a high pass too.
Yeah, I'm changing a high pass too because I remembered that fight, with him with the draw. I don't think it was a draw. I clearly gave him the win. Not like by a long stretch, but I had Navarrete winning the fight. But yeah, so for that reason, though, yeah, that's not honorable taken as a whole. But it is hard too because when you do fight 3 times, I thought Gonzalez made an excellent point. You're giving us more to judge by, opposed to like you go and do like Crawford, for instance. Yeah, great performance, but he fought once. Nothing's even on the horizon. They're not even talking about the next date for this next Spence fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Navarrete is I thought he won the Conceição fight, but he should have really gone for it in the 12th. And I don't know if it's because I think he ran out of gas in the 12th. That's just what it is. I mean, he was throwing a lot of combos there at Conceição. Now, he did deflect a lot of Conceição's shots. He really didn't seem all that bothered by them. He was just biding his time. But we'll see what happens for him in 130. I mean, in 2030, 24, the year. But for the moment, yeah, high pass. And we're going to give him a high pass right there. And hold on a second, real quick. I got to play the applause here. And I really do like watching Navarrete fight. One of the most exciting fighters at 130. Hold on a second. All right, give me 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to leave you here with the next name and you guys take over. I got to check on something real quick. Real quick. Let me put up the name here. All right, so we move up to the lightweight division now. And we go with... Hold on a second.
Let me go right after.
Whoever wants to go first, you guys go first. But here we go. We got Vasyl Lomachenko. You guys take over. Fail, pass, or honor roll?
Lomachenko, obviously, it's hard to take him off of a pass list because of what he does. Even when he loses close. It was a robbery. Everybody knows it. Everybody in this panel knows he should have won that fight. I don't remember. Was his fight against Ortiz this year or last year? Was it early? How far before the Haney fight was it? Okay, nobody's answered.
Say again.
I was answering. I think I was muted. I think it was last year, wasn't it? I don't think it was 2023.
It was 23 though, wasn't it? He fought twice in 23, didn't he? Let me look that up. Well,
that'd be a good idea.
I'll clarify.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a high pass because he won that fight. I'm not going to fucking go by, I'm not going by box rec. I'm going by what I